It was 2013, and I was living in rural Northeast Ohio with my family, my mom, sister, and mum. That's what we've always called my grandma, a nickname she's had since I was born. Summer was in full swing, and so were the usual summer activities that came with being a kid. My sister and I had made many friends in the small trailer park where we lived. There was a big open field right next to the parking area in front of our trailer, which was perfect for playing. Beyond the field, dense forest stretched out into the nearby national park. At the edge of the forest, there was a steep drop-off about 7 to 8 feet down at a sharp angle of around 60 to 70 degrees leading from the field down to the forest floor. Winters were always exciting because we'd turn that drop-off into a makeshift snow hill. Kids from the neighborhood would grab their plastic circle sleds or boogie boards and slide down, laughing and screaming. But what made that spot special was that it wasn't just a winter hangout. It was the meeting point for all the neighborhood kids year-round, which is why what happened that day was even more unusual. That particular day was strange. The sky was cloudy and dry, with a crisp chill in the air that hinted at the arrival of fall. It was eerily dark for the middle of the day. I don't recall exactly why I was outside alone, but I was in the field, using wooden sticks shaped like guns to play out my imagination. I was the hero, battling off bad guys, when suddenly I heard it. The sound seemed to come from far away, but I couldn't pinpoint its origin. I was standing in the middle of the field, and the trees can carry sounds for miles. However, this sound didn't fade away like it should have. It was a strange sensation. The tone sounded distant, yet the abrupt cutoff was too short to be coming from a distance. It was as if the sound was being swallowed up, leaving me with a sense of unease. At first I thought it might be a bobcat. We'd had some sightings in the area the year before, and that thought made me feel a little better. As a kid, I didn't think much of it and continued playing my game. But then I heard it again, this time more clearly. That time, I knew it couldn't be a bobcat unless it was a call I'd never heard before. The sound was strange, like it didn't have a clear beginning or end. It just seemed to grow louder, then suddenly quieter, like someone had quickly turned down the volume on a radio, but not all the way off. The sound was still there, barely audible, but present. I was unsure what to make of it. It didn't seem to be getting closer, nor did it seem to be moving away. It was just there. I know it sounds foolish now, but I felt an inexplicable pull to walk towards the end of the field. For a long time, at least 30 minutes, there was complete silence from the woods. I don't mean that everything was quiet. Cars drove by, and birds chirped occasionally, but it felt like a specific kind of silence, as if something that was always there had suddenly vanished. It was an unsettling absence, like the quiet after a constant hum has been turned off. Just as I was about to give up and head back home, bored from waiting for another 30 minutes or so, I saw it. I had been expecting to hear the sound again, but instead, I saw something that caught my attention. Deep in the forest, I spotted an ancient dogwood tree that had grown to an impressive height of over 40 feet, its trunk a sturdy 5 feet wide. But what caught my attention was that it was bare, devoid of leaves, a clear sign that it was dead. At the very top of the tree, something seemed out of place. A round, gray object nestled among the lush green leaves of the surrounding trees. A shiver ran down my spine as a deep, instinctual voice inside me screamed to leave immediately, to turn back and retreat to the safety of home without looking back. But I didn't listen to that inner voice. Instead, I tried to focus on the gray shape, squinting to get a better look. And then I saw it move. My heart skipped a beat as I realized that whatever it was enormous. But it was the details that made my blood run cold. The shape wasn't an object at all, but a face. And from that distance, I could make out a yellowish gap near the bottom of the face. It looked like a smile, and I felt a chill run down my spine as I wondered if it was smiling at me. As I gazed deeper, the face's features became more defined. The eyes were blacker than the darkest night, like staring into the shadowy corner of a childhood bedroom where fears and imagination reign. They seemed to thrive on the darkness, sucking it in. I couldn't see a nose or ears, and its smooth, hairless skin blended seamlessly into the surroundings, making it almost invisible at first glance. The lack of shine or reflection on its skin had initially fooled me into thinking it was an object, but now I saw it for what it was: a face, stark and unsettling. I was paralyzed with fear, my body frozen in place. My limbs felt electrified, as if lightning was coursing through my veins, urging me to move, to flee, to escape. But my legs wouldn't budge, my feet rooted to the spot. My mind was screaming, pleading with me to run, to shout, to do something. Anything. But my voice was trapped, silenced by a terror so overwhelming that I couldn't even tremble. I was completely, utterly still. To this day, I'm convinced that I heard it call out my name as it emerged from the woods. The sound was unlike the earlier scream. It was a low, guttural growl that sent shivers down my spine. The pronunciation was drawn out, like fingernails scraping against a chalkboard, making my skin crawl. And then, just as suddenly, everything fell silent. The stillness was oppressive, a heavy blanket that suffocated me, leaving me breathless and frozen in terror. This silence was oppressive, a profound absence of sound that felt like a living entity. It was as if the world had been drained of all noise, leaving only a vast, empty void, like a deep sleep, where the only dream is an endless, pitch-black expanse. Everything happened in a blur, mere seconds ticking by with terrifying speed. The face snapped back behind the tree, and then, with a sudden burst of movement, whatever it was came crashing down the trunk, its descent as swift and furious as a bear plummeting down a tree, heading straight for the ground. The face reappeared at the base of the tree, still frozen in that unsettling smile. It remained motionless for a full minute, as if taunting me. Then, without warning, the creature burst into a sprint, retreating into the forest with an unnatural gait. It stood at least 6 feet tall, its body impossibly thin, with shoulder blades and spine visible through its skin like a skeletal outline. Its neck was equally long and thin, adding to the overall eeriness. As it ran on 2 legs, its feet remained hidden from view, but its movements were swift and jerky, like a marionette on a string. I remained frozen in place for what felt like an eternity, my mind numb and my body paralyzed. It wasn't until I heard my mother's distant call, beckoning me home, that I snapped back to reality. I was shocked to discover that I had been standing there for over an hour, transfixed by the horror I had witnessed. The sky was darkening, nightfall approaching, and I knew I had to shake off the trance-like state that had consumed me. As I trudged back towards my house, my mind reeled with questions. Where had the time gone? And, more pressing still, what was the thing I had seen? Just as I was about to round the corner and head towards the front door, the scream pierced the air once more. It was just as distant as the first time, never seeming to draw closer. I paused, my thoughts racing. Had it ever truly left? Had it simply retreated back into the tree, waiting for its next moment to emerge? The uncertainty sent a shiver down my spine. One question echoed above the rest: how long had it been lurking there? To this day, I still can't shake the uncertainty of what I saw that fateful day. A part of me still wonders if it ever truly left. My mother still resides in that trailer park, and I've visited countless times since then. Though I've neither seen nor heard it again, the scream still haunts me. The scream that remained perpetually distant, never drawing closer, yet never fading away. I'm left with a lingering sense of unease, wondering if it's still out there, waiting in the shadows,